This is Inside with Outsiders. I'm Jeremy Asgari. Behind the camera is Chris, a.k.a. Bams. And today we have Alexander Lee Donohue.
That's right. Hello, everybody.
You made me say your middle name for this.
Lee.
Lee, yes.
Like the general.
It's pretty modest.
There's Alexander the Great, and there's the other one. So when people go,
I don't like Alexander the Great. I'm half Persian.
One save people, one just conquer people, and just slave them. That's not a good thing. So yeah, one was
is that how you live your life?
One was freeing slaves, and one was enslaving. So I don't know. There's a difference.
Okay. This has gotten off on a good note. So Alex,
Yes, sir.
Alexander, how do you want me to call you?
Alexander.
Alexander.
Forget for the sake of the interview. Alex is fine.
Whatever you want, man.
Alexander.
Okay, Alexander.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Alexander?
Originally Secaucus.
You're from Secaucus?
I was born there.
I had no idea.
Oh, Hudson County native, huh?
Hudson County native.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
Was raised in Jersey City until I was 2, so I was a baby.
So you were raised until you were 2.
And then my family moved down to Monmouth County to Middletown, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. But the fun thing is that I really spent a lot of my time that was family time in Jersey City because most of my other family members stayed. Union City, Edgewater.
So I didn't know you were a local North Jersey boy. And I say North Jersey because Jersey, there's differences in Jersey areas, right? North Jersey is like an extension of the boroughs of Manhattan, right?
Well, they call Jersey City the 6th borough?
I thought so. But
I keep hearing that there's a bunch of realtor companies out there now, like in this area, that it's 6-borough realty.
Yeah,
there is. Yeah, there is.
Remember when we interviewed
There was
Garnett?
a blog I used to follow. I'm a nerd that I like architecture, cars as a kid. My first thought when I was a child was to be an architect. And I used to build buildings out of baseball cards and books that we got from subscriptions, like Dr. Seuss books and Encyclopedia Britannicas, and stack them in my bedroom with my cars. So one of the blogs that I followed was the 6th borough, and it was about Jersey City.
And I always thought that would be a suitable name, right? When I had Garnett on the show, I don't think you've met Garnett, but Garnett claims that the 6th borough is the Lower East Side. How is the 6th borough Lower East Side when it's in a borough? It doesn't make sense to me.
That's not true.
It's not.
That's
Right?
not true.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's like a forgotten borough. Like
it's not a borough. It's in Manhattan. It's in a borough.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like Manhattan's like a beast. Like when I was a kid, I was like, everyone when I lived in Jersey, when I moved back to Jersey City after college, and I was hanging out in the city before I moved to Jersey City, and then when I moved to Jersey City, people of a certain Manhattanite vibe would be like, why don't you live in the city? I'm like, because I don't want to be around you. You don't really.
And what's funny is the demeanor saying that is actually the demeanor I usually hear from Manhattanites talking
Other
about
people.
Jersey.
And that fun thing was, I was like, why are you so special? You're not from here.
Oh my God, I have this conversation all the time.
And they act like they're superior. And you're like, okay, so you, and then let's say I'd go to have dinner at their house, whatever. And like the house has a roommate on top of the dinner table in a bunk bed, and the house is the size of this table. And
Right.
Like, well, I think I'll take my car and park it over there.
But back to
and
what
deal
you
with the
said
traffic.
about them being condescending towards you for living in Jersey, and they're like, why don't you live in the city? They're never from the city. They're always from like the Midwest or somewhere crazy, and they're the one that they frown on you for not being or living in New York City.
I mean, I'm 42.
Yes.
And back in the day, like some people you would meet were from the city.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
As we've gotten, I think what we're talking about now, what you're talking about is like, there's like millennials or maybe even Gen Xers.
No, but I think people from the city that are
Well, they wouldn't frown upon. They don't talk that way.
No, yeah.
It's like people that weren't from the city moved to the city because it was like this thing, and you were like, okay.
But remember, back then it wasn't just like it was only Manhattan. They considered Brooklynites Bridge and Tunnel as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And now if you're in Brooklyn, you're cool. Actually,
Unless you talk to me from Jersey City, and I'm like, no.
Well, you know what?
Sorry, everybody from Brooklyn.
I mean,
Sorry.
honestly, if you're going to consider a 6th borough, I would consider Hudson County the 6th borough because, listen, Brooklyn is a borough.
Yeah.
And it's Kings County. So it's a county. Queens is Queens County. Manhattan is a county. So Hudson County would be like.
I agree.
Not just, I mean, because listen, we lived in Union City, Weehawken.
Yeah.
We're 5 minutes outside New York City.
And
Yeah.
there are also smaller. Brooklyn's a behemoth.
Exactly.
You can fit like how many Jersey cities? Probably Manhattans.
Exactly.
But there are 5 boroughs: Brooklyn, Staten Island, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Jersey City was called that in a day, but I would say Hudson County. I agree with you. Yeah.
I agree 100%. So you're originally Jersey, Hudson was it North Jersey and kind of central-ish, right? Monmouth kind of central. Did you do all your schooling throughout Jersey? And where'd you go to school? Elementary school, high school?
I was a Catholic. Well, okay. We're gonna keep this very like PC, because this could be a part of like a trilogy of podcasts of like, let's just talk about the fucked up shit that people put things through religion. But I went through a lot of different schools based on religion, and I navigated my way through Catholic school until I went to Rutgers.
Well, can we talk about that? All right, so you're gay. You're cool with talking about it, obviously.
I'm a complete, I don't know if I should say the word, it starts with an F and ends in a T. I'm good with that. Like, we're good.
So what was it like?
Loud and proud.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed from your
Loud and
Instagram. I was like, is he modeling Borat's bikini? I'm not sure.
At the end of the day, if you're ashamed, words are, don't give it power.
No, right. Well, the reason I bring it up is because you talk about going
Empowerment.
to Catholic school.
Yes. Shame.
And
religion.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
shame.
Right. So that's why I bring it up, not to label you.
No,
but
we're
yeah.
good.
So firstly, I guess when did you come out, and prior to that, when did you know, and what was it like going to school in Catholic school where you're being told that you are a sin?
Oh, Jeremy. When did I come out? Was it when my friends cornered me at a pool party because I was hanging out at the tunnel in Twilo, et cetera, and showing up to high school high as hell on Monday when I slept in my car and everyone walked into school? Or was it when I went to elementary school after my parents put me in another school because my mom went to church one day and said they wanted to find a new church, and I'm in this crazy Christian school, and then I had sex with multiple men in that school, and then I was kicked out of that school.
Wait, how old were you?
Freshman year.
And
then I went back to, I didn't want to go to that school because I was just sleeping in bed, and they wanted me to go to another church, and I said no, and then they came back, they were like, guess what? I'm like, imagine. And I can't wait for this news. And it was like, we're not putting you in the high school, which I thought I was going to a Catholic school,
right?
Modern Day
Right.
in New Monmouth, Middletown, which Middletown is like a large township, so it has sections of the town, Middletown, Keensburg,
Sandy
North
Hook and stuff
Middletown,
like that.
South North Middletown, South Middletown, and then some people get into fights about like whose town's richer, and like they like break up. It's like very Clampetts and Jethro's. It's very strange. And then you wake up and you're going to a church, and then you go there and have sex with all the people as a gay person, and then they take you out of the church, and they're like, he's gay, and your mom is like, he's not. I'm like, I am, and then and then they take you and put you in the school that you originally wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And then you get to that school, and the person you were hooking up with, who was your best friend in 8th grade in the other elementary gay school, saw me coming in and being popular and put notes in everyone's locker and said that I was gay. And that started a whole big rumor where it was like a big pick-on fest. And it was fucking hard.
Oof.
It was
For 4
fucking
years?
hard. Well, no, I mean, you've known me for a little bit, and if anyone doesn't know that, it's like, I was fine. When we're a certain age, you kind of, like, you rely on, like, people's feedback, whether it's coming from
Yeah.
good or bad, and it's like you want to fit in.
Yeah.
And then, like, and I don't understand if it's a thing that some people don't learn a lesson to stop doing, but a lot of people just want to do that for the rest of their lives. But you don't find yourself. And at one point I said to myself, you know what, I just have to just disassociate and, stab his tires, key his car, set his tree on fire in his front lawn, beat him up, and then in the future have him come up to me in college, and my friends told me that, oh, he's gay, and he lives in an apartment with a boyfriend, and when his parents come over, they put a shelving unit in, and they walk through the door, and I'm like, wait, so he has Narnia in his house? And that's the
yeah. I'm lost.
Did I lose you?
You talking about shelving unit and separation?
Yeah. And then you actually would right. Imagine me, but the person who made me feel lesser than
right
came for me and like told people
no, I got
my
all that,
truth.
But what is it about their parents going into?
So
he was still hiding.
He's hiding.
Yeah.
And I don't care anymore. I'm over this. Now I'm in Rutgers.
Right.
And my friends are from high school. I have friends from elementary school. In case anyone wasn't like people are very amazed about like my level of friendship, and I think you can understand that because you see how I am in people. Like I'm in public. I'm like interested, and I give people some respect and attention, and sometimes if it's not my thing, I'm like, it's just my thing, and it is what it is. But I have a lot of love in my heart. And people have had that for me. And when they come up to me, and I have retained these friendships for years, and they tell me at a party at my house at Rutgers sophomore year, like, oh, Jeff, his name is Jeff.
Yeah.
I could make him a fake name. I'm sorry, it's a fake name. His name is Jeff. Last name rhymes with Columbo.
Oh my God.
They tell me the story that like he is gay and isn't admitting it still, and when his parents come over, they make a wall where they're using a television unit. And remember, like we now have widescreen TVs, like the
you mean him and his roommate?
Roommate
Oh,
had a
I
thing,
see.
and then when they would move it to the middle of the room and then have a separation, and I'm like, so. Like, obviously, like, anyone would think that's obviously weird.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, oh, so now, first of all, this is not to code.
Right.
Like, if there's a fire, that's not good. And at the end of the day, it's literally going through the line, the wardrobe,
Right.
in the line, the witch in the wardrobe.
Right.
It's like you're a lying sack of shit wardrobe over there.
I mean, at this point, you don't feel bad for this guy?
It didn't matter anymore.
Right.
At that point, it was a thing where when I found out that, I was like, it felt good because I was like doing it better.
Yeah.
But like that was so long ago, like it's not even. a thing.
Right.
But so when you asked the question to circle back, when you say like when did I come out, there was moments where I wanted to come out, and I did, and there was moments when people made it
hitting
happen.
The table, okay. Yeah. No, because of the sound.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So repeat yourself. I didn't mean to cut
Well,
you off.
when there's the question of coming out is like not so easy breezy.
Yeah.
Because it happened in stages, and I was comfortable coming out with points of people, and there were people that threw me under the bus and like really wanted to like destroy me. Or
How
just
did your
because
family react, or your parents, I should say? Now.
well, my dad's dead, but we were cool, and my mom kind of just and hi Iris, if you ever watch this,
Iris,
she blamed a lot of the problems that she felt in herself through me and made me feel guilty for it. My dad was pretty cool about it, but the transference of her emotions put on my dad for her own personal reasons wasn't, and I don't know if this translates for camera or whatever, it was just like, people have kids because they want to make themselves emulated and be better. And whatever reason, her thought process was a very toxic relationship for me. And my dad, who was the person that worked his ass off, me and him talked privately when my uncle died, and I got left all the money from my uncle, because he said specifically, I don't want your mom to have it because she's desperate. And she wouldn't give it to my dad because he said, you're a pussy because he'll do whatever my mom wants. That's a living moment, which means you have a lot of strength in your soul as a child.
It was like big validation right there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And it was just, and I'm in New Mexico.
Wait, what are you doing in New Mexico?
That's where he was dying, and like,
okay.
when you like, what do they call them when it's like you're out of he
Hospice.
had cancer, hospice, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the just morphine, and like you're just on the way out. It was part of the journey.
That's a lot.
On that note.
But usually on the way out is when the truth comes out. Like how you really feel about people is what comes out when you're on when you're on your deathbed.
I think that the reason why it was like the truth. I think hardest truth in life is actually understanding the truth. We make our own like versions of it, but like, is
Agreed.
it just because we want to hear it, or is it actually the truth?
That's true.
Is it our narrative, or is it like the one we just want to hear, and which is our narrative? And just observing people's ways of making themselves feel better and their versions of reality, it's just not so good when people just repeat cycles that aren't going anywhere. It's just another like loop around the sun.
Yeah, I agree. And when you mentioned Rutgers, you seemed happy and like.
I love that place.
Yeah, tell me about your experience at Rutgers.
That place. I love that place. That was so good. I mean, it took a long time for me to like figure out what I wanted to do. I went to Catholic school. We had our guidance counselor was probably higher than we were. It was really bad.
So you say it took you a while to figure out what you want to do as far as what
And
majors?
I always found it like annoying when not annoying, but like just a little jelly of when my younger friends were like, they went to like schools that had vocations.
Yeah.
Because I was searching for like a
trade.
I was like AP Physics, I was AP Chem, biology, horrible at arithmetic, and I did some whippets the other day, and I think I lost all the rest of it. For real, like I literally lost arithmetic, and so kids don't do whippets.
Wait, whippets is still a thing?
We would just take
when you're bored in the pandemic and you go on Amazon, everything's a thing.
Okay,
oh my
all
God.
right.
I
Was
found
it
them
ready
in my closet.
Was it the ready whip or you actually had a whip?
Oh no, these are whippets. It was like the balloon and like the thing, and this wasn't like the thing you did when you were like working in a restaurant.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
If you walk around here, you might find a cracker or two.
A crack,
somewhere.
right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the reason I had okay. So where were we? Before I was talking about the whippets. I'm sorry.
About a vocation and looking for.
Yes. So I would have liked to have gone to school and had known a little bit more because maybe I would have like been able to squeeze in more not wasted time.
Right.
But it was architecture, and then it was like I thought I could talk to people, so it was like psychiatry, etc. So then, like in high school, it was like if you want to do computers, they put you in front of a computer, and it was like you're playing Sim City and Where the World's Carmen Sandiego,
Yeah.
which are good games.
If you don't know anything about it, it's funny. I remember doing the same stuff.
Sad. And
then I took my first computer science class in college, and I was like, "Wait, what is this?" I had no idea what.
When you took computer science, was it like what was the like? Did they just throw you in front of a computer?
So basically, the kids in the computer science class in college had already taken some prerequisite courses in high school, and I didn't know what I was going into. In the first class,
You were like, "This is a computer."
They said they were like, "This is what's."
You
gonna
had
be in
never
this
seen
class.
one.
If you don't know, and it starts listing these different programs, I have no idea what you said. I'm dropping this class.
Mine, comp sci. Walk in, it's just one of those like awful auditoriums with like, just like really bad, awful auditorium seats. Like a bad, like, opera house. And I went there for a few classes and I looked around the room. I'm like, I don't like any of what we're talking about and I don't like any of these people. And then I tried to do psych classes and it was like I went into a place and it was like I did pretty good in psych because there was some theory, and then it got to like math, and then it became bell curves and like statistics, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if I want this, and I didn't really know my way, and then I worked at Starbucks and sold glasses at LensCrafters for a little bit, and then.
Were you still in school while doing that?
Yeah. I worked. When I found my vocation, the thing about it was I tried to transfer into Mason Gross because I went to work I literally old school, like went through a newspaper at my house with my friends, and we were all like trying to find jobs, right?
Yeah.
And we went through it, and we were like, I was like, oh, this sounds fun, like computers, fun. I went to the place, they had koosh bowls, and it was like all those Macs came out with all those different colors.
Yeah.
I was like, no, my job was very menial. I was like, just taking zip drives and copying. I'm doing a Starbucks run, but they paid me. And I was making like, at that time, like, $12 an hour, which is like,
That was a lot back then.
like, yeah, like I could afford my Dodge Neon. Like, and that's an admission right there. Okay. And then I realized this was the thing I wanted to do. I could do art because I was always into art. I drew and all that stuff, sketched, and then I could do that. And I didn't have to be an architect. I found that I could do this, and it just morphed and just changed from there.
And this meaning graphic design?
Yes.
And you studied that at Rutgers?
Yes. I had to transfer into Mason Gross. It took me 2 times to do it.
So what made you quit your dream of architecture? Was it the math portion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of that.
So
Just load on the math.
Yeah. When did you realize that you wanted to do graphic design? What year were you?
I think it was sophomore year.
Really?
Which is
You didn't
good.
waste too much time.
No, it was okay.
So you were like really hunting for
I was
your
hunting.
major.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My entire life was like trying to get more.
Yeah.
And to this day it still is trying to like do more.
Yeah.
See things, experience things, like just
No,
give
it's good
more,
to have that
get
hunger
more,
for life.
experience.
I agree. Yeah.
It was I mean, like, you were in a club scene and a pandemic happened, and what happened with you? You were like, okay, so how do I make this turn?
However, I was doing Outsiders prior to that.
You were.
Yeah.
You
so
were.
it was basically sink or swim. Like, all right, Outsiders has legs already, thank God. And I just pedal to the metal.
When you look at the world, though, what are you gonna do in life? Like, sit there and wallow, wah?
No.
Or like,
I'm not the type to feel sorry for myself. No.
what is the passion that you have for yourself, Jeremy? Like, is it
he's
people?
trying to flip it on me now. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So when I say the 3rd or 4th year I had Outsiders, my Persian cousin, we're not blood related, but families know each other. He was pressing me about, because he's ran businesses, he's owned record labels, management companies, and he was like really pressing me to know my passion behind Outsiders, because he knew I wasn't an avid hiker or outdoors person, or he knew I liked being active in sports.
Neither was I when we met.
What's that?
Neither was I when we met.
Exactly. But I can see.
I'm not walking.
Make sure the mic is close to you.
That's for poor people. I'm not walking.
God.
No, he's good, dude. His raspy ass fucking voice
He's good?
is
Okay.
carrying
Sweet.
making sure. So my passion, he was asking, he knows I'm not an avid outdoors person.
Uh-huh.
My passion was the same passion I had within nightlife, and it was community, building like a chosen family, people. And that's why initially my major in college, to kind of match what you were saying, I was initially going to go for physical therapy. And why? Is because I like dealing with people.
Touch.
Then
Help.
Then
Help.
And then my minor was I graduated with a minor in psychology. My major was
I double majored.
Communications.
Art history and psychology.
Really. So if it allowed me to double minor, it would have been psychology.
I'm
and
sorry, it's going to be
sociology.
philosophy. Excuse me. I went for psychology. I was like, no, I went more for the art history. Like,
Gotcha. As a minor,
I doubled philosophy, art history. Yeah.
as a double minor, they allowed that.
Yeah.
Then they didn't allow it in my school. Only one minor, but I had enough credits to also have a minor in
No,
sociology.
double major.
A double major, yeah,
Yes.
okay. So I had my communications major, psychology minor.
Yeah, because I didn't go for like a doctorate or bachelor's. Like,
Right,
I mean, a
exactly.
master's. I just did like 2.
Gotcha. So yeah, my passion is community.
Do you think the community is from what in your life? Like what?
You're interviewing me now, you bastard.
No, but hang on though.
I don't
Like,
see a problem with this right now. It's actually really good. So keep doing it.
yeah.
Like-
I'll answer. So go
I
ahead.
was, of course, I'm going to relate it to us
Yeah.
and myself because
Yeah.
I'm the interviewed person. What I'm trying to make the parallel is I've always wondered. It takes a lot of energy to actually host in general.
Yeah.
And the idea of that is seeing, for me, people smile and camaraderie, and unless you're like in it like just for like Wolf of Wall Street, just money.
But
I don't believe that's
obviously
you.
not.
I don't believe that's you, and I definitely know that's not you because I know you. Like, so that said, for me, like finding my art in life was because it's a personification. I love what I do.
Yeah.
Because it's a personification of what I like doing, which is just learning and emulating and peace and the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, making people smile and having great experiences with people.
And that's similar to, I mean, I like bringing joy to people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I like connecting people. I like creating something and seeing it come to fruition.
Yeah, goals.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But my
That's
knack
important.
and my knack is community building. But I also think I like to do things in a certain way, and I like being active. I enjoy being outdoors now.
Me too. Now, as you see,
I mean, I always like being outdoors, but I mean outdoors in the sense of like outdoors.
yeah, I was
in
outdoors
nature,
too, like
you know?
at the beach or at the pool where
Right.
someone serving me a margarita.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the thing was, for me, I'm talking about the reason why my
It is that
passion
bad.
behind this is I wanted to do it in this way. I wanted to make a social environment that wasn't always going to be based on eating and drinking, because sometimes I didn't want to eat and drink.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
And I also
Yeah, that
didn't
makes
think anyone who was doing outdoor stuff was doing it in a way that was, in my eyes, cool. It was
I
always
don't think
super
that anyone
cheesy.
was actually. So that's why I gravitated towards when you were doing your thing. I was like, oh, this is like an interesting thing.
Yeah.
The world kind of brought people together.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
I
let's
like
talk
that.
about how we met. Let's talk about how we met. So we met.
Well, on the way here today, I saw like 4 people we know.
Yeah, so we
usually.
met through Marcus, DJ Marvelous, who
I saw it today.
We had him on the show,
Saw it today.
and I could tell you guys have like a tight knit group of friends, which I admire. I like that. You guys came on a hike. Marcus brought you on a hike to Stairway to Heaven, one of my favorite hikes. You've been on the one
It
we
should
did.
be. It
That
should,
would-
first
that-
of all,
yeah, Stairway to Heaven is a great hike.
First of all, First of all, Stairway to Heaven is no. It should be called Stairway to what?
No. First off, there's 2 parts.
But hang on, for everyone out there, like I do like doing a climb, but it's like it's part of the Appalachian Trail, and I get it. But it was like heaven. Like at the end of heaven, there should not be a sandwich with cheese on it. There should be like someone blowing me. Like if I get to heaven, that's my nirvana. It's like I want like
But-
someone.
but
to
there's-
You
give
know
me
what? I really
graves
like
and-
this guy. This guy's actually, he's right.
There's 2 parts to that hike, right? The first part you did.
The work, which is called life, which is the stairway, and then you get to heaven, and I want someone blowing me. Like I don't see what I'm saying is wrong.
Well, listen, there's 2 parts to this hike, right? The part that you did is the portion of the hike that
Well,
has.
it's just funny because we're on this hike, and we get out of the bus, and like we're all drinking like sparkling waters, and Marcus, our friend, was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on this hike," and me and Marcus like work. I would work abroad from my company because for me as a designer, I don't like fluorescent lighting, etc. So I would go out and like sit all around Jersey City. Marcus would be at some of the places. We became friends. Hi, I'm gonna go on this hike. And Marcus knows I'm kind of bougie, and he's like, well, and he shows me this like very nice thing of like just like this like, and I'm from the shore, like it's like this boardwalk
Yep.
through reeds, and it's like, oh, this is a cute little like little trail,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, that sounds fun.
And it is.
And then you get to the part where we're walking down the road, like Dorothy.
Well, let me
and all the-
describe, before you continue, I'll describe this a little bit just so they don't throw people off, and because it's one of my favorite
Oh, because
hikes.
first of all, it's
Wait,
a
but
great
let me-
hike.
let me
It's a
say
great
it.
hike.
So the portion you're talking about, excuse me, is
Called getting out of the bus.
is getting out. it's the first half. So you get off the bus.
Half.
You get off the bus and you walk on this.
1/3 tops.
Oh my God. Let me say it. You're walking on this boardwalk through marshland, which is great. And then you get you're done with the boardwalk. The boardwalk portion is gorgeous. I know you can't deny that.
I did not say anything.
Gorgeous.
About the
Then you get through this little foresty area. Once you go through, I think it's probably like a 2-mile hike, 3-mile hike, no, probably 2. You get to this little cow pasture. And you're about to cross the road, and that's when I warn people now, because of the experience with you, we cross this road.
You're welcome, everybody else.
we cross this road, and then there's like, you walk a little bit through the forest, and then there's a steep climb up for like 45 minutes to the top, and it's worth the climb, because at the end you're on top of the world, overseeing this great view. But I warn people who are maybe not in the best shape or not into that there's a steep climb, and if they don't want to do it, there's a farm with homemade ice cream, which I didn't know about until he decides he didn't want to climb. He was like, I'm not doing this. You can explain from here. Go ahead.
Oh wait, no. So now I know the person that actually. Okay, no. So now
That's him. Yes.
All right, because when we went on the trip, it was when it snowed out the day before, and you couldn't make the hike after the road. You couldn't go all the way up.
No.
Oh, you went in the winter?
We went in the winter the first time. This was the second time we did it in like May or something.
Oh, so you did the first one?
Yeah.
Yes.
You did this in the wintertime?
We did this in November
it was in
yes.
and
it just
what
happened
happened.
to
It was
snow.
it was
Got
it was a freak snowstorm the day before,
right.
like randomly snowed.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to.
Uh-huh.
So that was the first time. But seeing the beauty of this place, I'm like, we got to do this in the warm weather. And that's the one when you came on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I fell downstairs in Fire Island when I was younger, and slipped like that girl in Clueless, that ended up dying. She had a red rinse and she ended up red. And she
I know
she
who
lived in the murder house.
Yeah, I know who she's
and
talking
she
about.
actually lived in the murder house in Hollywood. Brittany Murphy.
Oh yes.
And she fell down the stairs, and I fell down the stairs, and I was like, this is like way worse than her. Like I went down like all of the stairs on my butt, and it fucked my life up for a long time. And so I wasn't fully ready. And then I did a bunch of years of like PT and stuff, and then I was doing, my life was going by decades have passed now. CrossFits to get my ex-husband back, like just like conveniently being, just like doing shit. And then I took a break because my back was acting up, and 6 months off, I went back, and the day I was getting up to go do it, my back seized and lightning rod went up and down. I fell on a toilet, and that's why I have an Apple Watch, etc. Because I was on the floor.
Okay, gotcha.
But
you had fallen and you couldn't get up.
Couldn't get up. I crawled, right. Yeah. So now I was re-injured again, and so when I saw this, I'm like, I remember when the first time I hurt my back, I'm friends with people that are avid outdoors people, and they took me to Dead Man's Bluff for that wall or what on the Hudson River. Okay. It's you're climbing, you're basically scaling the Empire State Building. You can do a hike, but you can also climb up a wall. And so he made me do that, and that was traumatic. And I saw the walk was scheduled that you took me on was scheduled for, let's say, 4 hours, and we're on a 2-mile hike. So we're like, 20 minutes in, and I'm like, where's the rest of this hike? And there's this mountain over there. And I asked people in the front, they're like, yay.
What was 20 minutes
skipping
in? We're about an hour and a half in, but go
skipping.
ahead. Yeah, hour and a half.
It's perspective. Okay. That's okay. Sure, we'll go with whatever you say.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you should be happy, because when I went on the trip, people had to trudge through at least 3 inches of water.
No, it was higher. It was like 4 inches of water.
It
freezing
was
water.
Yeah, it was freezing water. Like, people took their shoes
It's amazing what people would do.
They went barefoot.
I feel like that's what you should call your hikes. Like, what will you do for Jeremy? Because like I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not.
That part wasn't bad. I'd say going through that freezing cold water.
That freezing cold water was
a
great.
challenge.
And you know what? I'm going to splice, because I have video of that, so I'm going to splice and video the people running through the freezing cold water.
Yeah, I mean, did you have mosquitoes? Oh, it's a fruit fly. God, that bastard. All right. Oh.
Because it's a warm day.
Hey, take it easy on those mics, huh?
Sorry.
It's nice mics. I know. I like them.
So the thing is, when I went to scout it, there was still a little bit of that water, and I was scouted with Lorenzo, and I took my shoes off to walk through the water. Man, that was so painful.
But smart decision though.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want
to walk.
That's
Yeah,
horrendous.
But it was so painful. Afterwards, it's like you ever do a cold plunge and like you feel great after. My feet felt great after going through that cold ass water. But I don't really recommend doing that. You know?
And like, I don't recommend doing any of this hike.
Well, that's why you
other
wear
than
gaiters.
the boardwalk part. And so I went to get ice cream.
Yeah.
And then years later, I'm like now more fit. I went through a epiphany. COVID happened, which
You have to say, I do want to
super
say,
positive change.
you are in so much better shape now than when I
Totally.
first met you. How much weight did you lose?
like now I was like 240. I'm like 195 now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Like I kind of got back down to like a more adult version of like what my frame was when I was like in high school. Like
High school?
maybe freshman year in college.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
got back down to that.
Yeah.
And then like you start adding on because you're trying to overdo it, but then it's like cycling and like working out and gaining, and it's like now I'm just like pieced out. I'm doing like I'm not overloading my body
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
I
healthier
have more.
approach.
I have a peaceful version of like diet me. No one else. I'm not pleasing anyone else. I'm feeling what's good for me.
Yeah.
And so then when I was in Puerto Rico, I was on a plane looking at our first class photos, and I was like, somehow it was a comparison in the conversation. I was
Oh, when
like,
we're texting?
who's oh bitch, you're coming for me with more first class photos. Where are you going? And we were traveling a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm traveling, you're traveling. And that's what I did in COVID, which was part of like life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing when people were just staying home crying. I was like, I'm living life. Like the airfares are cheap.
They were
And
super cheap.
And I liked going to hotels and places where there were no people at. Like people were like, I really miss lines in Orlando. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. So I was like, instead of sitting here wallowing, see the earth
Yeah.
at a discounted rate.
Yeah.
And then when I was away, you were like, you got ice cream.
What?
Wait, you are hiking now, and you dished out on my hike and got ice cream. It was like one of those things you just look at your phone, you're just like, it brings you back to that person again.
Yeah.
And it was like a reconnect. And then the next day, I saw Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
I was walking down the street, and there was another beautiful, weird, random, like warm temperature day. And I'm walking down the street, and Marcus just sees me and goes,
Oh, because he saw the post commentary.
and
He
he
commented
goes,
on it too.
And he goes, he came for you.
He came I did.
And Marcus left, he's like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I was on the phone at the time, and he was like looking at me. I was like,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was a nice reunion, and it was nice because again, it proved when I started doing like the moving outside stuff that you inspired me to do, honestly, which I thank you for.
I didn't know that, but
Absolutely.
my pleasure.
Well, I would save it for this. It was part of like, I mean, I was in California doing hiking in Joshua and just going to like deserted places where it was like, seeing like the Salton Sea and
Nice.
Death Valley and Coachella or whatever it's called, Burning Man, but like there's no Burning Man at the time. It's just
Right.
like that place where they have this weird art gallery in the sand and just like doing like really off-grid shit because there was nothing on grid to do, and it was more peaceful to be away from people because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And being away from the wilderness was a thing. And I looked at myself in the foot. I was like, I need to get more in shape, and I just used that as motivation. And it kind of just like worked in this way where it was like a forward progression. It's led up to this moment we're now talking. It's kind of cool.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think, well, yeah, the fact that you came on the hike, Marcus brought you, but then again, me coming for you on that Instagram post, but it reconnected us, right? And
It wasn't coming from me.
No,
It was a
I'm
joke.
just being, I'm joking, but
It was being
then-
real. It was a joke. It's like how life is just so funny.
yeah, I agree. And but then we did some business.
Yes.
So this is the man who built out all the pages on our website for
Yes.
this destination series that we're doing.
Which I
So
want to go on Sardinia.
Iceland, Jamaica, Sardinia, Panama, and Tanzania, Zanzibar.
Uh-huh.
So you built out all those pages. Your freelance work, right?
My
So,
freelance work, yes.
And it came out beautiful. And thanks
glad
to
you
you,
liked.
we've gotten some great sales.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. Oh, you know what? At the end of the day, it's again inspiring people and helping.
absolutely.
Like literally, like moving forward. Like of course, there's always like a thing where like there's wallowing. I just let someone in death the other day, but like take that. Life is life. You're gonna get this, and you're gonna get that, and you're gonna get that, and how we deal with all of it is our version of our life.
And you just mentioned something about the traveling stuff. I feel one of the joys I got from our Iceland trip was the fact that one of our members, Jamie, who you know, Jamie Rivera.
Oh, dude, Jamie's a great dude. He's fucking.
Yeah.
I actually, I sent Jamie. Jamie hit me up because I took a picture out the window in the back.
Yes.
And he's like, "Yo, I love that picture." I was like, "Cool, I'll make a print. I'll send it to you. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it." But
Was this a window from the airplane or did you use on the tunnel?
no,
No,
it was.
right here in the back, in the
There's a
back.
window in the back room that I use. It's my smoking window, and I gave it to Jeremy.
Gotcha.
I gave
I know
it-
that kind of window. Yeah. Well, you all have that window. So, hi, Jay.
I gave it to Jeremy, who's worse than the United States Post Office. It took like 3 months to get to
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Right. You could go to Iceland and back 14 times without the.
But anyway,
USPS
we're going off on a
Exactly.
tangent here. Jamie's a good dude. I got I love the fact that his first trip outside the U.S.
Was
and
Iceland?
Caribbean. It was Iceland,
Dude, that's a hardcore.
and it
right
opened
choice.
his mind, opened his eyes open to Europe, right? Iceland is
Because it's on the way,
right, but it's part of Europe. It's part of the European Union.
and it's on the way.
But he got to experience something totally different from the vacations he normally took. Because the vacations he always took were beach vacations. So this was
Yeah.
like a cultural vacation, a cultural shock. So
yes. Same
being
thing,
able-
and that's what I did. My thing was like margaritas on the beach and pools.
yeah,
Winter parties, white parties as a kid, just like what our old lives were.
yeah, exactly.
Like literally, and and whether it was outside or not, to go make this transformation where like I actually enjoy climbing out of a tent, out of a Jeep Wrangler or a Jeep, whatever, Gladiator or whatever the hell it's called, with the back cab and the tent on top, and we had to do this work like in the woods in Tennessee, like to.
Yeah. I mean, you said the Salton Sea, Joshua Tree. I haven't been to these places. These are places on my list. Like, I definitely want to hit these places up.
Cool.
They're gorgeous.
Well, last time I told my buddy Greg, who like actually was really my brother from another mother, Donohue. I'm Donohue, so it's Ho and Hugh.
Yeah. He was on the fall camping weekend with
Exactly.
us.
Yeah. So and then we just like I saw him when I was in Miami the other day when I was down last month and just to get away from this cold. But that was like not camping. We were just Airbnb-ing it, but just to get away from the weather, change the vibe. COVID again opened that whole thing up, or it was like just like move around, like,
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff wouldn't actually have happened unless COVID happened.
Talking about things happening, I'm really appreciative of you for being here today.
Likewise, for having me here.
And I say that,
I'm appreciative for me being here today.
yes, and we bring that up because you had a friend pass away 2 days ago or last week. Was it?
It was Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
But I didn't find out about it until yesterday. Yeah, last night.
So can you
In the morning, first thing.
So this was how would you describe it? It's not
My partner's best friend.
okay.
So, yeah.
And how did he pass away?
Partying.
So
Whatever that and that's a strange thing of when people are like, what kind of partying? And let's be real, America. Like, is it really is it prescription or is it non? It's the same thing that we all do in the world. It's like we take a combination of things, and if they don't mix with other things, something might happen. So we see all
just to
these
be clear for some people who don't understand
pharmaceutical
the terminology,
pharmaceutical
partying,
commercial
drug use.
drug use, but people can party with FDA approved drugs.
Yeah.
And what do they mix well with? In this instance, it was probably something that was cocaine, I believe, and it was laced with fentanyl. And it's been an epidemic that's been going on for a long time now because it's synthetic, etc. And it's cheap, and it's super potent. I was talking to my girlfriend last night in the process of my asking questions about why. This is the third person I've lost since last year, like in the mid last
In
year.
the same way, by the same means.
Yeah.
Wow. And I know that's an issue, and I know it's common because I was getting emails from New York Nightlife Commission, or whatever you call it in New York, just updates during the pandemic. And one of the updates was talking about safe
batches.
cocaine use.
Bad batches. There's
Yeah.
bad batches all over the
They say,
place.
if you're going to use cocaine, it's an email from the city saying, if you're going to use cocaine, make sure you trust the source, all this stuff. Be careful. I'm like, the city's sending emails about safe use of cocaine.
It's a lot.
There must be a huge, I don't know,
Like if
epidemic.
if it's in a newsletter,
Yeah.
it's got to be
from
a
the
lot.
city.
Right.
Well,
like,
wasn't fentanyl something big in like dietary drugs too? Like that's
back in the day, yeah.
yeah, and that caused a lot of deaths as well because of dietary.
And then they were like,
Isn't that what killed Prince and Michael Jackson?
yes.
yes,
It is, right?
100%, yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine. She's an MD in Philly. We were having a conversation about another topic, and then that, conversations segue. And apparently it's, and don't quote me, it's at a 100 or maybe another 0 times stronger than morphine.
Yeah, and
So it's either 100 times stronger or 1,000 times
and
stronger.
I've seen the
So when they give you a solution of it, like it's like in a bag drip, because like you can't do it.
yeah,
this
but
way,
it's like a
'cause
granule, right?
it's
Like a granule, like tiny,
a
like
grain of
sand.
salt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that can kill you. That's insane.
that's insane, right? And then that's what happened.
But how are you doing with the grieving process?
It's my person's friend, so it's more about anger for me, because and it's about using the how am I dealing with it? I'm using this as positive to make my life positive, like never encountering that substance, education, getting people. I looked up resources for test strips, which you can easily afford, where you can like dip them in water. You could take a granule of, let's say, whatever you buy and add that to water, dip the thing in, and it will tell you if it's in it, just so you know,
Right.
et cetera. Just in case, if you're still going to partake in something, do it better educated.
Yeah.
Thank you, New York City, for not giving the test strips, but okay. But I'm doing that. So, it's
Well,
just
it's
like
funny. I mean,
learning
it's
from
kind
it.
of the same thing that the heroin replacement methadone clinics give. They give needles out to people so they don't share needles to minimize the.
Well, they do that, and also apparently Narcan, which is what they use to revive people who are ODing on heroin, is not strong enough compared to what's going out right now.
Well, right. And also, methadone is also about equivalent to morphine.
Yes.
Or heroin, morphine, but this is stronger. It's like way stronger. Yeah. And I just was like, after hearing so many stories, and you're like, oh, okay. It's like you're desensitized. And then it's like, wait a second, I'm over this right now. I need to fucking
So
figure
how's
what's
this going to change your life?
I can't, I'm not going to, I don't want this to happen again. I need to make changes that I can affect other people, to myself included, and other people I'm in my social circle with, including talking about this topic right now, which I'm thankful for this platform to do it, to not make stupid decisions like this again. Because every time we all go through funerals, we all do, and we go, why? How did it happen? And it's great to connect and see people we haven't seen before. But do we really walk away and change our lives and our behaviors? No.
I mean,
Most times.
maybe for the following day.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd rather let's use that person's loss as a positive.
So what do
If we
you?
can memorialize them and not put a statue up, use their life and memorialize them by making an impact for the future that actually changes the future.
So what are your goals and how do you plan on doing? I don't know if you've gotten that far. I know you're grieving, so you don't.
Me and my friends have been trying to after one of my best friends, Randy, passed last year. And I think you remember that happened because I was in Puerto Rico and I was gone for a little bit. I was like, whew. It was a long grieving process. Someone you love to death. So I'm not doing this experience with my partner's loss because I'm far enough removed from the grieving to actually see through the fog and say, well, yes, this is reminiscent and it's a repetitive behavior, which is insanity. And what I'm doing now is deciding what to do. I'm not 100% sure there, but I have been reaching out to friends who are along the last death that I dealt with and the one prior to that. And then we're establishing a community. We're talking about and sharing feeds, et cetera, because we've grieved. Now it's like, what are we doing now that we've grieved? Some people have made decisions personally. Let's take those personal decisions that you're doing and aggregate them, and maybe that's a cause. Maybe that's something we need to do as a community together and make a movement about it. However small, if one life is, I'm not even going to say what I was about to say. If you make an impact on somebody, that's one less person that someone's crying about.
Right. And I think the common problem is people go back to the social environment they know of, right? And the people they know hang out with, and usually it's the people that are partaking in whatever habit they're
100%.
hooked on. So I think a great way to, I mean, this is a hard way, but removing them from that social environment. And if there's anything we can help with, obviously with outsiders, I'm happy to. I've spoken to people that help with,
Yeah, man.
accountability. And
that's what I think when we lose, like, when you go to the funeral, it's like there's some sort of transference that happens where it's like, oh, it happened to them first, but some people, when people get mad and they're always looking for like why, and it's like they judge.
yeah,
But like, really, what are they doing? Self-judging, but just like they're just like they're pushing it on.
pushing what on?
It's like gaslighting. Like they're using that person and like, oh, see what they did, and you're like, no, but they're doing the same thing at the same time.
Say they're usually referring to the person who passed away, and they're
Gaslighting them.
Mhm. as if that person messed up.
They're
and
gaslighting
not
but they're gaslighting their lives.
right.
And you're using that person and just transferring it away. It's like, oh,
Not taking ownership of what they
of what they're
partake
doing
in as well.
It happens all the time about anything.
Yeah,
It's I guess I almost think it's like a human condition.
I mean, people use it like they'll use it as like a platform or like almost like a diving board to do what they want to do.
oh yeah,
Kind of
Justification.
Yeah, exactly, and direct it away from actually what they're doing. And
I guess I could segue it back to religion, like the Righteous Gemstones. If anyone's seen the show, it's really great. Not plugging, but it's a televangelist show where it's religion and they're taking money and they're the biggest sinners on the planet.
of course,
Yeah, right. They're corrupt. The message of religion is lost. Giving it to others, being money's not an object, like
Right.
peace and love. Karma basically, but we're using human cash and monetary systems of our pleasure to judge people and make them feel minimized, and
Right.
then it's just kind of sad. So just like going through the weeds and spending a lot of introspective time being outdoors and indoors in the past, like watching how people work, has led me to be able to do websites that you like because I know how people work.
Mhm.
They want to click on this, they want to do that. This is what they're used to.
yeah.
But what they're used to isn't always the best, so you find the next best thing for people after you find the next best thing for yourself.
Right.
So it's a journey for myself to help other people. And I don't know the exact answer, but thank you for the offer. I really appreciate that.
Listen, we don't need to have the answer right now, but
We might get the answer. Like there might be another page on the website that says like, outsiders inside your soul.
it
you know,
could be so
in you.
routings, it could be whatever. Like
It could be. We don't have to quantify it right now.
Right.
The offer's there. It's a humanistic. Thank you. It's
Oh,
really.
pleasure.
I appreciate that. It's very nice,
Listen,
Jeremy. Thank you.
I see there being,
you.
if there's a need that we can fulfill for people that will help people stay alive.
And that's our MO. It's like the whole thing you're saying is like help. It's a positive. We're being positive.
Yeah.
Our journey in our life is kind of like not doing not bringing people down. It's growth.
Yeah.
Growth means let's keep these bitches alive better.
Exactly.
Well,
So
I'm not
liquidate.
trying to bring anybody down, but I actually had a conversation with somebody because we're older.
Oh, but you're going to.
We're all no. We're all in our 40s, and I realized like as the older we get, the more people that we know who are older than us, they're gonna start disappearing.
Yeah.
So that's what the reality you got to think of. Like, listen,
And sooner if they're not taking care of themselves.
exactly.
We have a mutual friend who we worry about.
It's very true.
that
very true.
No, yeah, and this is actually bringing something that
This hits home for
But it's sad though when
Chris
people
and I.
younger than you go first. Like that's crazy. Like then
That-
you're like,
yeah, that- no, that's
like
insane.
that
Absolutely.
really breaks your heart.
But
You're like,
it's sad
"Ugh."
when people go when it's not really supposed to be their time. I mean, if it is their time because they're
No, I
partaking
know,
in
but
things that-
we're using English. It's hard
Yeah.
to quantify that into like a
Yeah.
phrase. But yeah, I'm with you. It's hard.
yeah.
It's hard. So yeah, taking care of what it is, getting older also, if to your point. When we were younger, the things I did were not the things I can or want to now. With age comes wisdom. And you know that phrase where it's like if you knew then, now
Yeah.
would you go back? I don't know if I would.
No, yeah, you're probably right.
I wouldn't. I like the way I've worked out, you know? But like now I could tell, and it's hard to tell. I get yelled at all the time by people that are younger than me. And they're like, oh, you whippersnapper. Like, you're using like an old fuddy dud.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm like, okay, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. And then like, you know, and they're like, but usually it turns out, I'll just give, and then I'll just start giving people little tests. Like, don't touch that. And then they do. And they date that person. And I'm like, that, and I'm like, see.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're quick tests. I don't have
Well,
like
listen,
10
I
years
think
to a decade to see,
everything
but
you're talking about revolves around people's patterns and willing to break the pattern that's unhealthy, and that's hard.
And you did
The
that with
biggest-
this, and you did this with Outsiders, was like getting people to do something outside of their box.
Exactly.
Go
Well,
outside.
listen, honestly, look at the name we chose. You know,
It was really good.
I chose the name Outsiders for a number of reasons. Obviously, we're outdoors, right? But I want to be outside of the norm.
No,
you know?
like different.
So
New trajectory, new path,
break your patterns.
just something different.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Try something else.
It's also from a business perspective. I knew that if I wanted to see extreme success, I couldn't follow someone else's path because I'll always be behind somebody.
Makes sense.
So I have to try.
You do
be
something
innovative.
different.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Innovation is right. But I think it's difficult to get people into doing something new without having a following, because once again, people like followings and they like going through lanes.
The thing is, I agree, and luckily I had a following for events before,
That's
and I
good.
brought them over into
Yeah.
something different, and they trusted that I would do something good, and I did.
And I trusted my friends, and then I went on a walk, and I got ice cream,
Yeah, there you go.
and it was really good.
Listen,
Well, I don't-
ice cream is always a plus.
It was good ice cream. It was good.
And it was funny now. Every time we do that hike, I'm like, anyone who doesn't want to climb the ice cream right there.
It's kind of funny.
It's
So
the
now people-
Alexander Lee Donohue break.
I appreciate the homage, because like when I meet people, they're like, "Oh, you're the ice cream guy." Yeah, like you.
I didn't know who it was, and he mentioned it in an interview we did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now I know who it is, so now like, all right, if we ever go on a hike again, if you don't want to walk up this hill, you can get ice cream. So now I
Well,
know.
right.
You could do Alexander Lee Donohue
There's
version
two
of the
versions
hike.
of the hike. Yeah.
This one stops and gets ice
Gets
cream
snacks.
while
Even if
everyone
we have a
climbs up.
sign,
Got
like,
snacks.
you want to go on stairway hike or the
You know,
Alexander
and we
hike
have
club?
that hike planned for, I think it's first week of June, maybe May, I forgot what it is. But
Hi.
I'm going to post on that, say
That's funny.
the Alexander Lee Donohue version.
Well, now I know how to log into your website, so I can just change it to whatever I want.
You can't change our event stuff because it's to another website.
I mean, right.
It's a
I can
plug-in.
only change, but I can change that one part, like where that page
Maybe.
on
We'll
Squarespace.
see.
We'll see.
So, all right, we've gotten down into a topic I think is important, but I think we've covered enough for that topic.
I'm fine with that.
Let's go on to more about you and your future. What are you? You're a graphic designer. You work for a great company, and you have your freelance work. But what's your goal? Like, what are your goals, career-wise and personally?
To be happy
And
and
what-
see more places on Earth. Really, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I like to travel.
So
That's
do I.
really my thing.
That's actually what's funny is after we roasted each other on Instagram, and then we
Discuss
started texting and sending each other the photos in the plane. That's how we connected because we both like to travel.
Yeah, we were like, I was like, which first class is better? I was like, are you in Coach Plus?
This guy was killing me.
I'm just like, it's just like it's fun though, because
I agree.
I like moving around.
So travel. You said wanting to be happy. What else makes you? I mean, okay. What would make you happy in your career right now? Like your long-term vision. You can say 5 years, 10 years. Your overall goal.
Oh, Jeremy, that's like, I don't even know if I can actually answer that question because, well, I can give you a brief overall. Now I could say, like, if I was to say at this company, I want to have like more staff under me, but then it's just like a long road to do that, and it's like really, there's so much paperwork, and I've done that before in like more of like a smaller company vibe, and it's still more paperwork, and I like being creative, versus like doing more forms.
So less admin, more creativity. Yeah.
And then, do I really want to make more money? Because with that becomes more responsibility, and I like being able to do what I'm doing right now, which is like a balance of doing what I'm doing right now wherever I want to do it.
Right. So
And- and the
have
most-
you essentially you feel like you've reached the
Like it's an
happiness you're
equilibrium. It's
striving
like
for
if I
in balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's
Yeah.
like I could go for this, but at the risk of what?
Right, but so you're saying you've reached the balance where you're happy right
For
now.
now.
For now, yeah.
And so I can't say 5 years from now. I've actually made a plan that I'm gonna like stay stasis for 4 years and see what happens. Because after COVID, like to see what the market does.
Right.
Do I want to buy like some real estate property again? But where are people moving to? So me doing the least amount of work to get the maximum benefit is what I want to do in life.
That's a good deal. What about personally?
Personal growth is important. I am involved with a person that I love very much. It's great. With relationships come problems, just because it's a journey. Being a man that's been, in a divorce twice, but then in like
Twice. My Persian grandfather had a saying.
Goal oriented.
My Persian grandfather had a saying, and this is what he told my dad when my dad invited him to his second wedding.
Uh-huh.
He said, even a donkey's smart enough not to step in the same pothole twice.
And so when the third donkey comes along, and that you're kind of involved with it, and they're like really wanting to go for that, you're like, well, is the piece of paper really that important?
Right.
Is it really that important? Like, we're just enjoying this.
Right.
Because this might just change.
So let me ask you, is that on the table right now for your current relationship?
No, this conversation is on the table because it comes up all the time with people. Like, people want to like quantify things like this conversation. It's like an interview of life.
Yeah.
I don't really know if I know what I'm going to want to do in 5 years. After I've lost some people this year and the year before and in my entire life, I'm not guaranteed 5 years. You know what I need to do as a goal? Finish my will, and I'm finishing it this weekend.
But no,
Literally, that's the thing that I have on my taxes after I do my will.
he's
Those
actually
are some
right,
goals.
Because after the last couple of years,
I don't know.
Listen, you don't know how much time you have here. It could be 50 years. It could be 2 years.
Yeah.
And I lost my father like at work accident. So like it was like I don't want to get into it. But like it was like I
Yeah.
saw he was there and done.
Listen,
Like so it was right. So it's just like that was an eye opener and changed my life for like it kind of put me on the trajectory of like, and what's like more important,
Yeah.
Like pretend future or now.
It's, I have those thoughts myself. Like, I don't think I could work hard or work well for another company, for somebody. So do I think I can take a job somewhere and make more money than I'm making right now? Yeah. But then I lose my freedom, and my happiness, because I would not be happy working for someone else.
No, and how many people do we know that like? How do I say this? How many people do we know that like are like very very contingent on saying they can't go on an excursion or a vacation because they have like they make tons of money, more money than me, and they like have about the same amount of vacation, but they can't take any of the time off because they're told that they shouldn't go. They're guilty into
Right.
staying.
I actually literally just said that to.
Because it's a normal thing. It happens to
literally just-
everybody.
we had an interview the other day. I literally just said that to your mom when she came here.
Oh, yeah.
And well, what was that? May I ask that? How that went? Like what was how that context come up?
Well, it was just like, just let him know if you're taking on a new job. Say, listen, I already planned this. Just go on. What are you going to do?
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually have walked out of companies where it's like they're like, I want this amount of money, and they won't give it to me, and I give them okay, well, we're gonna do this as a child. They're like, meet this, we're gonna reevaluate. I don't get what they want, and the next day they call me and they're like, where are you? I'm like, I'm my new job.
There you go.
It's at will life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't I'm not being evasive, but I'm being as truthful as possible.
No,
like
you know what?
I really was a different person. Like when we went on that walk and I got ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm still the same guy because I'm like, I'll just do whatever I want.
Right.
But like, I have more capacity to just like, go experience more shit and make decisions that are just like whatever. But I'll give it my damnedest.
And I feel great knowing that we had a part in that.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
But also, you're not afraid to just. A lot of people are afraid to that if they quit a job or they want to leave in a job, they're afraid to do it because they think you're gonna lose out.
Yeah.
You don't seem like the person who's like, whatever, dude.
It's harder when you have people that are dependent on you.
Yes, exactly.
That makes
There
it
you
more
go.
muddy.
Thank you.
That makes it more muddy. Like the
Yes.
people they, get kids involved, a wife, a husband, kids, etc.
When you have no worries, you can actually just pick up and say, "All right, cool. I'm gonna walk off."
Yes. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Let's see. Let's get to some of these.
Oh, you got questions on the phone?
I do. So when we've kind of gone through the whole story, more or less, that you want to tell us, then we have a few questions for
I'd
you.
love to get some questions.
All right. Well, I just asked you what your goals and dreams were. What motivates you to keep pursuing those?
I guess it's drive.
But where do you get your drive from? Like, is it a competitive drive? Do you want to be number one? Obviously, you don't seem to care really because you'd rather have autonomy and freedom.
I think it's learning, growth. I'm a very inquisitive person. I want to know more things than I know right now.
And that is such an important quality to have because you'll never stop learning.
It's
For
one
me,
of the greatest qualities you can have in a person.
exactly, and you have that as well. And for
That-
me,
I try to live by it.
I have that with
I think
people.
it's the best way.
I want to learn more about people.
It's genuine, right?
I agree.
You know,
But, I mean,
I read as friendships. Like,
Yeah.
I want to learn more about you. Like, you're not like people. How many people are waiting to talk? Like, and you're like, oh, I like listening to this conversation.
I mean, for me, the human story is the most interesting story. Your story, Bam's story, anybody's story. I want to hear about them because that kind of makes me understand.
It's another version of what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was a good answer. Okay, cool.
Great answer. Here's one I'd love to hear from you. What advice would you give high school you?
I got to hit
Stand your ground more.
What?
Stand your ground more.
Can you give us an example of when you wish you stood your ground more?
Like when I saw, I wouldn't have like joined in the bullying to fit in with other bullies.
Right.
Just to be more unique and just be like, that's just dumb. Like, just be more of an individual versus a group.
I think that's something that we would tell, most people would tell high school selves,
Have you heard this answer before?
We've gotten a variety of different.
But this is a question I've not been asked about. You hear the version of like, what would you do in the past? But like high school stuff, that's a more
Yeah.
like time period.
Because it's a unique time period.
Yeah, 100% agree.
It's when you really
But I
wanna
like
fit
the
it.
question,
Yeah.
100%. And that's a good takeaway for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know people that my nieces and stuff and friends, kids they're going to be there one day, and I'll be like, don't do what you're doing right now in high school. Go on. I'm sorry.
No
side note
problem. What is your favorite part of Outsiders?
When I'm not seeing you.
What's funny is a person we interviewed earlier this week said their favorite part was me, and I'm like, all right, I appreciate it, but
You are a very I don't. So you're the dynamic of being in a group, and I'm in a group, and my whole entire MO of this conversation is like uniqueness, doing your own thing, like self growth, and you're yet outside and yet being told what to do.
Wait, let me clarify. That's only
I
the
got
second
ice cream.
weekend because you were hammered the first night and you were annoying.
Oh, and I don't mind the fact that I was annoying though.
I do. I was like,
Did I piss off your guests? Your guests all loved me the next day.
Pat
Your
loved
guests
me.
came up to
I was making sure
Pat loved me.
Yeah.
Lots of people loved
Listen,
me.
if Pat loved you, you're good in my book.
yeah, exactly.
I had to put a
No, you're annoying. You're just annoying me.
No, annoying you.
It's
I was annoying
annoying
you.
me.
No, annoying you because like you were like, I wish I was having as much fun as them. Because like I was having fun and you were like, I had to be in control of this group.
Yeah, I guess.
And as a host, it's a lot.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
not gonna
you're a
let go.
coordinator.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, if you're harboring any guilt or hatred towards me, I have no guilt of what I did. I thought it was super fun and the
Now I
night
love
was
this
amazing.
guy. He's great.
No hatred
The
at
night was
all.
amazing.
I appreciate the fact you're so concerned with how I feel. Thank you.
I actually no, I did no, but because you were like trying to like wrangle cats, and I'm like, here's some milk.
appreciate you for that. Why they invited me here? Good answer.
Glad you liked it.
Well, honestly, if I'm not needed in the group, it means my job is done.
No.
No. I'm not saying it in that negative way.
And I didn't say that.
I know.
I did not say that.
I'm not saying that. I'm
There
saying
wouldn't
like
be that.
If I can remove myself from the group and the group still flows the way it does, I've succeeded in my eyes.
Noted.
Okay, cool.
And then I've succeeded.
Yes, because you got me out of there.
Jeremy took a nap.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
Next question.
Yes, sir.
What is a dream you've yet to achieve?
Going to Antarctica and Patagonia.
That's actually those are locations I want to go to as well.
Oh God, one of the things I've been to like a few. I like going to like.
Bring the mic a little closer if you don't mind.
I like. I enjoy going to what do you call it? UNICEF, right?
United Nations? What?
The historic sites where there's like a gold plaque everywhere you go. It's like the World Heritage sites.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I don't know.
Like some of them are like no, it's like UNICEF or something.
Well,
like that.
I know Patagonia, Antarctica.
Like Machu Picchu is one. Like you go.
Seven Wonders.
But it happened. No, it happens.
No,
but they happen to be some of them.
They're historical heritage sites.
Yeah,
so
they're like they can't be touched by anything.
Oh,
Like they can't
understood,
develop it. It's like no country can invade it. It's like some whatever nonsense. But Patagonia is one, and I want to go there. I think Patagonia is close enough to Antarctica where I could just like take a boat to it and be like, I saw it, I'm done.
So
yeah, hit that continent. Because do I really want to be there? My friend. And I have a friend, Brian. I hate you because he's been to like way more places.
Bring the mic a little
than
close to your
like,
face.
And I'm like, Brian. Every time I go to a place, I'm like, are you really Are you looking for aliens under the ice?
right.
And I'm like, I hate you.
Yeah,
But
I want to hit it too because I like going to places people don't normally go.
Right. It's unique. It's like nobody wants to wear the same Gucci bag from Canal Street.
Exactly. Speaking of Patagonia is my grandmother. That's the place she wanted to go to. I was supposed to take her there, and now she's too old to feel comfortable going. Because Jules Verne wrote a book.
I know the book.
Yes.
Oh God, that was like a school book. It's like it was prerequisite reading. Damn.
So that book inspired her. She's always wanted to go to Patagonia. She couldn't go, so I want to go and like record video and show her. You know.
You know what's funny about that though? It's never the same. You know what I mean? Like it's never the same.
Of course not, but
And,
I mean,
you know,
I think she'd be happy knowing that I went.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a cool thing to do actually.
Well, let me know when you go. Maybe it'd be good to do outsiders.
I think one of the things that I do with my friends is like I've kind of been an outsiders person in my own life, meaning that like I group people together. I'm always saying like I'm gonna go here. Who's in? Like inclusive.
Yeah.
So like make it a group trip with good people where they can handle certain things. You don't want to invite someone in a wheelchair to the desert.
Right,
It's
of
just more
course.
difficult.
Yeah.
Not to say you don't want to have them everywhere else. It's just you got to make sure like everyone's gonna have an ease of use time and enjoy the time they're there.
Yeah.
It costs money. Everyone's time is involved.
But also, one of the things I focus on when I think about traveling with somebody, are they open-minded? Are they willing to try stuff that's not necessarily in their comfort zone?
I love trying stuff.
I'm not talking about you. That's obvious about you.
It's so much, and it's fun because some people don't do exactly that.
No, I know.
They think they do,
Right.
and then you put them in front of like a Burger King and it's not a McDonald's. They're like, ugh, and like really, you're
Or
so
forget
adventurous.
that they go with the franchise venue as opposed to the mom and pop shop. Like
Yeah, like why are you in Louis Vuitton instead of like someplace that no one else can buy anywhere in this store across the street that you don't know? Like go explore.
I agree.
Window shop.
I agree. I mean, for me,
Window shop life. Window
agree.
shop life.
Yeah.
Don't
agree.
just be told what to do.
Yeah.
Going off the grid. Not in the mall.
Going off the grid is probably your best bet for any like new place that you've been to that you've never been to.
Yeah.
Because going off grid is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see local stuff. You're gonna see the stuff.
I like traveling and not having an exact plan, and I kind of learned that the first few trips I started taking with my buddy JB, where we wouldn't have like an itinerary. We would just go and see where it took us, and we ended up in some wild spots and like great experiences and seeing things that some locals were like, "Did you see this?" Like, yeah, but we didn't see what everyone else usually goes to see because it's a tourist trap. So,
But you made a good point with the one interview was that when you went to Portugal, that you hit up on Facebook and you said, "Hey, where would you guys go?" And they said, "This is where you're to go." And it's like, I'm not going to any of those places because I want to go to where everybody said.
And everybody told me these places to go. A lot of people said the same spots. They were all tourist spots. My favorite spot in Lisbon was this dive bar that played nothing but Motown, and it was all these cool
love
locals. Dope locals. Yeah, it was awesome.
And that's the reason why when you asked me about outside, I was like, I want to do that. You're like, we're going this way. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm just that guy.
You know, but the thing is, if we're doing,
But I'm on that. I'm still halfway there.
but if we're doing a group trip, like a trip to, like for example, Sardinia, where we have some days, and I purposely program free
Which
days.
we discussed. It's like, that's more like we have this. You could choose options. Yeah.
Exactly, but also purposely, like in Iceland, we had 3 days where we had nothing planned. Go explore.
Do your thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way for people to explore themselves. And
Oh yeah,
find-
because the one we went on was a local trip, so it was like more of like everything's
a
like
day, you're not-
itinerary
yeah.
out. You got to.
Although you did find a great ice cream spot for that.
I had a good time when we went up to like the Catskills with our host at Here.
Yes. Yes.
Good spot. I like that A-frame.
That
That was a good
you want that
A-frame.
next time.
That was a good A-frame. I like that house. That was cute.
Next question for you is: what is your most embarrassing moment?
Kind of realizing that I couldn't climb that wall and I went to get ice cream.
That's not embarrassing, man.
I was hoping you would just buy it.
Okay.
Most embarrassing moment. Damn.
Are you a kind of person who gets embarrassed at all?
When I gambled and lost, I'm going to leave it at that. People know, if you know, you know.
Come on, give us some insight.
I mean, you seem like the person who, like, if you get embarrassed, you'll shrug it off pretty easily.
You know, it's like when you might have to pass some wind.
Close
And like,
to the
you
mic.
know, you might have to pass some wind, and like it goes a little further than you thought, and you're like, in New York City, and you're coming out of Times Square Tower from Ann Taylor, and you're like in the elevator, and you're like, oh no, a little. You're like, damn it, there's a Starbucks across the street. There's the most embarrassing moment.
Are you giving us a?
And call up my friend. When I told my friend that it's happened to me, I go, so I basically like sort of shit my pants.
You needed to go there. I already knew what you were saying.
So, but-
I
well,
was gonna say
I
this is a story, your own story, but cool, we get it. That's
No.
enough. I appreciate that embarrassing moment.
But and the phrase is if you so you gambled, you lost.
Yeah,
Meaning that he
gambled,
knew
lost.
that this is the thing. I'm like, oh, I don't feel so bad. It's like, oh, this is like happened to other people. Yippee.
Gambling. I tell people don't
Because you're like
gamble.
Probably happened to a
you're like
lot
you're
of
like you're like
people.
it's just a little gas, and then you're like, oh shit, snake
Literally.
eyes.
All right.
Okay, that's that.
On to the next question.
Uh-huh.
That's a good embarrassing moment. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with our viewers? Anything about yourself? Interesting fun fact, whatever.
I do have to go to the bathroom because I drank these 2 containers, so my bladder's full. Other than that fun
Okay,
fact.
that's a fun fact. So I'll speed up
if
this.
if you want to stop, we can pause it for a second so you can actually.
Well, we have the 5 rapid fire questions that we got.
But that was, I mean, if I could answer the question longer, I'd make it better. Like, that was popped
do
in
you
my
want
head.
to? Do you want to answer it for real?
Well, the question again, if I may.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share? An interesting fact about yourself, or anything you want? It doesn't have to be a fact. It could be anything.
I'm looking forward to spending more time with my dear friend Jeremy here on adventures and having more ice cream together and exploring places that people dream of doing.
Yeah,
That's a
And bringing more friends of ours into our lives and then having them experience that moment.
I think you're a great addition to the group of outsiders.
Thank you.
Obviously, you're
Thank you.
a character.
Uh-huh.
You
Yes, I know.
come in like a hurricane.
yeah, but that's what you need sometimes.
No,
you need
no,
a hurricane
but
to
that's the
shake shit
thing,
up.
I love it because, and plus there's complementary traits with like even like someone like Pat. You guys got along great. People from the surface may look at it like these guys, how would they ever get along? But I don't want to see you guys hit it off, but you guys got along.
You can see people like going through their job and like you got to come up to them and be like a little real, be like, I get it. Like, and I'm not that kind of guy. We're looking at life and it's like,
Yeah.
just keep it easy even when
Don't
you're
take
doing
yourself
it.
too seriously.
Just-
I
we're
agree.
but we like the hike with the person that ran and screamed, like I heard about. I'm like, oh, that woman should not have gone. You
Yes.
know, you don't go have surgery, and
Of course.
yeah, and but then that's a bad decision. But you got to keep it light.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Side note: I got to hear this story about this woman. who
It
screamed.
wasn't not much more to the story than that. A woman joined us on the hike. On the
She
Camping
made a
weekend.
bad decision. Like
She
she
was-
didn't
she
tell
was-
about pre-existing conditions,
Exactly.
and then complained the entire
okay.
way.
So
And then the next hike, we were. What was that one called? We were that hike. It was like
on the camping weekend.
yes, whatever the trail was.
Yeah.
It was that same trip that you guys did.
Yeah.
And this person was on it, and then we were discussing like finding people. Where are people? Hike stuff. And then right, it's like you see frustration in people's faces, then it's like you get some tea. And it was spilled about some people that just don't know how to focus on the positive in life.
Absolutely.
And they kind of
Yeah.
bring everyone else down.
Yeah.
And that's part of bringing people on a trip. Like, again, in this story we were talking about tonight, it's like, and in the journey of life, it's like being around and making people see the positive and not the other version of it, which is just the way we could look at it.
Yeah, and it's tough trying to grow your community, and you're gonna get I don't want to say bad eggs sometimes, but it's true.
100%.
You're gonna get it, and being.
But I'd rather take that chance than not.
But the key factor is having people around that are part of your core members of the community that can handle that and lighten up the mood regardless.
Yeah, and then also keep the friends in check and be like, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like you're on the right path because it can be frustrating. Your MO is a good plan.
Yeah.
You're positive. We need that in the world.
I agree. So let's get into our last segment, which is our 5 rapid fire questions. Okay. So whatever comes to mind first is what you'll say. All right. I hope I maybe made a mistake by saying.
Do you
that.
know the Oh, let's go.
Let's go. All right. Favorite city other than New York City?
Paris?
That's where I was born. Good city. Why do you like it so much?
Somehow I want to smoke cigarettes when I'm there.
That's why you like it.
Obviously that's not the truth, but it's just like you're just like
It's a beautiful city.
it's very just
Beautiful.
vibe.
Yeah.
Vibe city. I don't know. It's beautiful.
It makes you feel good.
It just feels right.
Okay. If you could do any other profession other than what you do, what would it be?
Traveling?
That's not necessarily a profession, but
According to Ante Bourdain, it is.
Like
he was a journalist.
Like what makes a profession?
chef.
Like you have to make money from it. You have to make income.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a lot or whatever. It could be anything. Flight attendant?
No.
Please get him doing that. Thank you.
No. What would I do? More sleep studies.
Sleep studies.
Mm-hmm.
So within the psychology realm,
Just paid to sleep.
paid to you get paid to sleep. Okay. Doesn't sound like you're such an adventure.
I would have just said sleep more, but that's not a profession.
Right.
But they pay you to sleep study. So I'm getting
Everything
monetary.
is right. They do pay to sleep.
Okay, you'd be a sleep study person.
I'm sorry. This question's not going the direction you
What's
wanted.
what's your biggest fear?
Oh, I hate spiders.
Spiders. And you came camping with us.
I hate
Did you
spiders.
see any on the camping trip?
No.
Really?
I mean, I see spiders, but like when they're like, they
Like
fucking
the
drive me
furry
nuts.
spiders that
Well, those are usually okay. Like it's like the black, the long leg ones and the ones that jump.
yeah.
I guess I could actually just say bugs in general.
I was
I
gonna
hate
say,
bugs.
I don't want to be an asshole. You realize that you're no more than 6 feet from spiders with like the entire day. Like you always near a spider.
Spider webs.
Spider webs, okay. Cool. What is
First of all, I did not need to know that fact.
All right.
Like now I'm gonna have different sleep tonight. Thank you. Okay.
I apologize, but somebody actually told somebody. Listen,
That's really funny.
We interviewed somebody who told Jeremy that she puts cotton in her ears, so
So nothing crawls in.
no, so
I get
spiders
it.
don't lay eggs in your ears while she
No,
sleeps.
no.
I've
it's
heard
not
this.
just spiders,
No, I've heard
because-
this.
no, no.
I've heard this before from people.
Listen,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
At some point, the Xanax works.
Yeah, but it's not
Literally.
just spiders. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But that's why
Right,
in
right.
most like
That's-
Caribbean countries, you sleep with a net on your bed.
Yeah, they have them. Yeah, lots of places. It's the mosquitoes get in. It's a good way to be like instead of finding it at night,
Exactly.
and you just close it, and it helps for a while. Yeah, totally.
Wow. All right. Who is your dream date?
Brad Pitt.
Okay. So,
Oh, I don't know. Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig?
Yeah, because I don't know. I like two of them. I wanted to be a threesome. Can I have two people? Can I double date?
You can do whatever you want.
That's my dream date. I want the two of them across from me fighting for me. That's what I want. That's my dream date.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually a pretty good fight.
Yeah,
Daniel Craig,
that's a
Brad
good
Pitt.
If they
guys,
do
there
that,
you go.
hey, let's see. Go, gentlemen, Fight Club and Bond. I want to see.
wins?
I don't know. That's the fun of it. I want a really good shrimp cocktail. While I'm watching.
You want to eat shrimp cocktail with Brad Pitt and
And a dirty
Daniel Craig
martini.
fight over you?
And a dirty martini.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to go with Daniel Craig on that one.
I think I'm with you with that. I'm with you.
I don't know. Brad Pitt hangs out with the jackass guys. He's
I don't know, dude. Daniel Craig seems.
I
like
think
he just
that's what I'm
seems like
saying. It's a tough. I don't know.
Daniel Craig seems like he might just be a tough motherfucker. Like, I mean,
Well, he does his own stunts, but so does Brad Pitt. Like a little bit. But Daniel Craig's in Bond, so he does more of those movies.
I have to go to the tail of the tape and see who's taller, who's heavier, who's got a longer wingspan. And
I
then-
think Brad Pitt might be a little bit. Well,
I
you know
think
what?
Craig's bigger
Yeah?
overall, but that doesn't mean a lot. Like it depends, like knowing moves and stuff.
But he's from. Listen, he's from London, so it's all right.
I love how we're going into the detail about who's going to win this fight for your date.
You can see it. First of all, if you were in the restaurant and I was at that date and you saw what I happened half of my date, you would be cracking up in the background.
I would go.
You'd be like, oh, like is that Brad Pitt and Daniel Craig and they're fighting? And you'd be like, your phone would be out. Like, you'd be like, what is this? You wouldn't even know who I am. I would just
I'd
be
walk
like,
by and have some shrimp cocktail and watch you.
you'd be like, Alex, is this? I'd be like, remember we discussed this?
Exactly. I hope that happens for you, my
Totally me too. Totally me too.
friend. My last question for you is, what is your favorite food? And you know the segment. You bring in your favorite food. What'd you bring? Or beverage, either one.
So my favorite thing, I thought a little bit about this, are these.
What is that? Looks like lemonade.
THC lemonade.
THC lemonade.
So it would be an edible. I know I was told that everyone has to try it, so I thought that may make it more interesting. So the reason why I like it is because a lot of my experiences, including one of which he was discussing before when I was whatever, at the night we were at the Catskills, I had some of this, and it led to experiences that were super fun that weekend. And a lot of this is, when I've given these to other people, it's a happy, fun time that they're like, I never would have done that day the way it happened before. So I usually give it to people.
So we can shout out.
So this is from Hem Social.
Okay.
They're in Jersey City on Jersey
And
app.
it's a THC beverage.
Yes.
So is it legal to have a THC beverage?
Yes.
What
I've been looking for these in Jersey. California had them like 2 years ago, but they took they
Is it
weren't out
legal in
yet.
Jersey now?
THC is actually legal in Jersey now.
Same as New York State, right?
Yes.
All right.
What's the percentage of THC in?
This bottle is 40 milligrams.
Oh wow, that's a lot, right?
Yes, and so if you want to be adventurous, you'd have like me, the whole one.
I was saying you could say a case.
But I have another one for me in there, and I've had a little sip of today. But there's each of you can have these and do whatever you want with them at your leisure.
So why is this your favorite one?
Because so the problem with edibles is that you have it and you could be at a funeral 3 weeks later and you're like, oh, that's not
The way
good.
you digest it.
It just, you never know.
Oh really? I didn't know it can.
It's so weird. It's like sometimes you take an edible and it could be like, you market research. This one hits you within an hour, and then some I have will hit you like 3 hours later. But when you first try it out, you're like, damn, like, oh, now's not the time. I was gonna go to bed.
Right.
You know, like I was
And these are
and these are like,
instantaneous?
you feel like within like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got a little, if it's working or not. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's like and I also like it because it's like it's like not drinking alcohol where it's like, and it's like carb conscious, and it's better for your liver and it's not drinking.
So if somebody wanted to order this, if someone wanted to order this, where can they go to order that?
Hem Social has a website. The URL is in my bag. We can provide that later. And put that online, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I can put that in the link.
Yeah, I have their address. Yeah, but there's if you just Google Hem Social Jersey City, Google's pretty amazing. It's not like S Jeeves. It works, so people can find it.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
you.
Definitely
Thank you.
looking forward to more adventures, like you said.
I can't wait.
You bring your friends, I'll bring my friends.
And we'll just we will do
And
it
we could be
together.
friends.
We'll do it together and make more friends.
Like David says.
This has been fun. This has been really good. I like this.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back. We're going to figure out other ways to have maybe more casual interviews, a few people, maybe a couch
It would
setup.
almost like being like doing that, like Chelsea Handler did that thing where she had like that time on Netflix where she had that one show where people were at the table just talking.
Yeah, we'll do something.
That's
Yeah,
kinda
we-
fun.
Yeah, we're looking at to add on to what we got.
I would
going
love
on
to
right
get
now.
you on the show with Pat. You and Pat together. Maybe
I
one
would.
other
I
person.
think I saw you did one with Pat before and other
Pat
people,
was the first one, actually.
but only Pat.
Pat was the first. We haven't done anyone. We haven't.
With.
We've only been one-on-ones so far.
I would like to do.
Maybe soon we'll do you, Daniel Craig, and Brad Pitt.
We got to make some phone calls. We might be able to make that
Yeah.
happen.
But this is a good sized table for that fight, by the way. I'm kind of like thinking of the table setting. I'm like, this is gonna be kind of fun.
Oh man, we need to get someone to animate this. This stream of
It's,
yours.
yeah, it'll totally be like a South Park. Like it's like a
exactly.
better. Like we have to. We
animations, South
we,
Park.
we have to. We have to mood board this
Exactly.
before we do it out.
You need to move forward that. All right.
So, do you usually like drink these, eat the food on the episode, or no? You just present it.
No, he usually.
I usually eat and drink the stuff.
So we're not doing it today.
No.
That's why I knew
Yeah.
you weren't going to. But
Yeah.
now you should. But maybe in the future, everybody, this will change his mind.
Right.
Hey, you never know.
You might
know?
want to. You might want to take that before you go to sleep tonight.
It's really. Oh, and if you're in the what the good thing about it is that it. Actually, that's a good point. Is that when you're in your like anything in life, it's like you don't want to do anything. Like you don't want to overeat when you want to eat angry. You don't want to drink angry. You don't want to smoke angry because it personifies like your feeling. You're just like like using that thing for a thing.
Oh,
And if
you're self-medicating, you're saying.
Uh-huh. And if you're just in a vibe and you just want to like, add on to it, just to like, add on to it, like you're not abusing a substance. You're just partaking in something that's ingestible. And it personifies your life. This is very, if you're in a good heart head space, like it's really like it goes extra. So if it's not going to like keep you up if you're tired. It'll add to your mood if you're up.
Right.
Zen, you're Zen-er, which is fun.
So it's a mood enhancer.
It just pushes it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
So better off having that in a good headspace.
Always a good headspace, I think, is a good way to do anything in the world.
Yeah.
Or just
Pretty
stay
much,
sober.
yeah,
Or just stay
right.
sober, literally.
Well, again, let's get you back on the show when we decide to do a little roundtable situation.
Thank you
but
for
thanks
having
again.
me.
Great
Appreciate it.
having you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.
This is. I don't know if that was too late or not, but.